Hey guys, and welcome to the Heaven's Gate Trail Guide video. In today's video, I'm going to break down the trail into sections, discuss how long each section might be, where you can camp, what to expect, and where you can find more information and maps. Let's get going. The Heaven's Gate Trail is a 38-kilometer linear trail that runs through the Cloche Provincial Reserve in the Cloche Mountains. So this is the same mountain range as the Cloche Silhouette Trail that you'll find in Killarney Provincial Park. This trail starts at Fort La Cloche in the Sagamok Nation and runs linear through the mountain range to the Highway 6 exit just outside of Whitefish Falls. This trail features the beautiful white granite mountains that the La Cloche Range is known for. In addition to that, you're also going to be welcomed by carpets and carpets of blueberries. Now, because of that, you're also going to be finding lots and lots of bear scat. So do be aware of that, and depending on the time of the year that you go. So we went in early August, and we could just munch on blueberries for days. It was fantastic. The end of the trail that is closer to the Whitefish Falls area features more side trails and is typically busier, whereas the end towards the Sagamok First Nations is basically one linear trail and there's not a whole lot else going on. So the only digital map that I found for this trail is on the All Trails app, which was posted by someone. However, the trail has been modified over time. And there are lots of different colors of markers out there, so it can be difficult to know which ones to follow. We found that the white markers were the best ones to follow, and where the white markers failed, someone had put up some orange tape, and typically if we followed that, we would find our way back to the white markers, and usually they both lined up with the green line on the All Trails map. However, there were some sections where we had some difficulty, especially around Ararat Mountain, where there was obviously a fire within the last few years, lots of blowdowns. So it was really difficult to make our way through there, but we were able to kind of bushwhack our way through. Hopefully you won't make the same mistakes we did, or you'll have a better, easier time following the trail markers. We did spend more time searching for trail markers than we have on any other trail. However, we also knew going in that that would be the case, and so we kind of made allowances for that, ensuring that we were always going in the right direction by double checking the All Trails map. So between those three things, we didn't really have too many problems making our way through the trail. I think we got lost twice, but we were always able to find our way back. So one of the neat things about this trail is that there's technically no designated campsites. However, there are places where people do typically camp, and there is one shelter on Florence Lake, specifically designed for overnight stays. So you can venture off the trail if you want to go find a quiet spot next to a lake, and put up your camp basically wherever you see fit. Having said that, along the way, when I was marking this trail through the All Trails app, I did make note of a few places where it would be a good place to put a tent, and so I'll mention those in the sections as we go along. So this trail took us 3 days and 2 nights to complete. We experienced over 1,500 meters in all 3 days in elevation change. The elevation will go up and down by up to 200 meters at a time. And some of the climbs can be quite steep, so definitely be prepared for that. So if you start at the Fort La Cloche area in Sagamok First Nation, you're going to walk in over a waterfall, a bridge over a waterfall and into the Forest Reserve. Right off the hop, you will have a chance to go and see another waterfall, and all through that area there's beautiful flat spots to camp. Then you're going to continue on the trail, and you're going to start climbing up on a mountain and then down a smidge. Within that first 5K, there's also another really beautiful camp spot on a lake that is easily accessible right from the trail. Then you're going to keep going deeper and deeper into the mountain range, and you're going to go up and down a bit, and then you're going to start coming down because the line on the All Trails map takes you down to the lake area on Lake Huron. We're not sure if the trail actually goes all the way down to the water's edge, just because we lost the trail at some point, so we kept following the green line, but we didn't seem to be on a trail. It couldn't seem to find a trail. But one really cool thing that did happen to us was We got to the water's edge and it was pretty rocky, and then we noticed that there were a bunch of boats moored just down the coast. So we walked probably like 200 meters down, and there was a giant, beautiful beach with a little stream coming out of the forest into the lake. So I mean, that obviously would be a really great camp spot. Because it's used probably by a lot of day tourists and visitors and boaters, there's probably a lot of garbage, which means that bears are probably used to going to that area to find food and interesting smells. So I don't know that I would recommend staying there, but it would be a beautiful spot to camp. So because we technically weren't on the trail, couldn't find the trail, what we decided to do was we followed the little creek that was feeding out into the lake. We followed it back upstream. Because it looked like on the map that it crossed the trail at some point, and it did. We were able to find the trail and keep going. From there, we went to our spot that we actually stayed for the night. I can't find the name of this lake, but I'll show you here in the map where it's located. There was a little trail that you could see people had kind of tramped down off of the trail towards this lake, so we went and checked it out. Awesome spot for a tent. If that site is occupied, if you keep going down the trail, you will find another spot there, just where the trail goes over this beaver dam that kind of covers in between these two little lakes, and the trail continues on the other side. So there's another little camp spot just over there that is also really accessible. It's a little bit steeper to get to the water, but it's still really nice. After that camp spot at about the 10-kilometer mark, the next nicest camp spot is at about the 17-kilometer mark on White's Lake. So in between those two spots, there is a little bit of water access, but I would recommend carrying a little extra water through there, just because you don't know if little streams and stuff are going to be dried up, and there's no really significant lakes that I would recommend the water quality on. If you don't want to stop at the campsite at White's Lake, the last campsite in this section is at about the 20-kilometer mark. I can't find the name of this lake. It's just the next lake over after White's Lake. But there is another nice camp spot right on the the water's edge. Beautiful view, nice flat spot, and obviously good water access. So you could definitely stay there as well. All right, after that, you're going to be continuing high up in the mountains for a while. And then you're gonna come to this one peak that has a beautiful view of Manitoulin Island. And from there, you're gonna begin a large descent down. And at the bottom of this descent is a beautiful campsite on Wrights Lake where we stayed. This lake is actually quite shallow, so it's not super great for swimming because it's got a mucky bottom, but it has a really nice sandy beach and beautiful flat campsites, so you can't really ask for more than that. And that brings you to about the 25-kilometer mark on the trail. All right, after the campsite on Wrights Lake, there really isn't another campsite until you get to about the 35-kilometer mark, which is on Florence Lake. Now I say 35 because on my trail, on the All Trails app, when I was tracking it, it said that the trail length was 43 kilometers. So it could be about the 31-kilometer mark. I'm just going by what my tracker has said. Before you get to the official site on Florence Lake, where there's the little shelter and everything like that, about 2 kilometers before that, there is another nice camp spot that you could camp at. That's got a nice flat tent pad area that you could stay and access to water, and there is a designated fire pit already there, so somebody has already camped there. Then you'll walk another couple kilometers, and then you'll come to the official site on Florence Lake with the actual shelter. And that campsite on Florence Lake is the last campsite that we could see that would have been suitable for camping. There are lots of places along where you go along the side of the lake and stuff like that. But the problem is that it's much too steep to be able to access any water or put up a tent. So I really wouldn't consider those suitable camp spots. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I will respond as soon as I possibly can. If you did find this video helpful, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. I wish you the best of luck when hiking the Heaven's Gate Trail. I know you're going to love it just as much as we did. Thanks so much for watching.